In another quick tip video, we saw how to use photogrammetry to create a 3D model. This can also be used to replace a model in a real-world video, to add visual effects. For example, I created this abandoned ruin model and then replaced it in the original video. We've already seen how photogrammetry can be used to create a 3D model. The link is in the description. I'd like to demonstrate how to place it in the actual video, so that it perfectly matches the original. We can accomplish this using the camera tracking technique. Camera tracking is used to create a 3D camera that moves and has the same properties as the real one. As a result, when you add a 3D object, it will perfectly match the live footage. This is something we can do directly in Blender. Let's load the video into the motion tracking pane. The camera tracking process is based on the discovery and tracking of a large number of markers. A marker in a video is any feature that can be easily followed in its motion. When a large number of markers are tracked, the software is able to compute the motion of the camera in the 3D space. Obviously, it is far more complicated than this, but in this case, we want to keep things simple. Now I'm going to add some markers. Remember, they must be easily visible and have a high level of contrast. We can also tell Blender to find some of them for us. To do so, press the Detect Features button. We can also change the options to find more or fewer markers. It is critical to note that these features must be static. They cannot, for example, be placed on the leaves of a tree or in a moving object. If this is the case, you must remove them. By pressing the Track Markers button, you can now track the markers. The tracking result is represented in the pane below. Each line represents the movement of each marker along the X, Y, and Z axis. Tracking can fail for some features, as seen in these examples. So, the next step is to remove the markers that were not tracked correctly. The other option is to use a filter in the Solve section that automatically selects features that are greater than a predefined tracking error threshold. You can now delete them. The next step is to add some markers by hand. This can be useful if we want to keep track of specific features that we require. Consider that after the scene is solved, each feature will become a point in 3D space. As a result, it can be beneficial to track specific points in order to determine their true position in the 3D world. Before proceeding, ensure that the frame rate in the Blender file is the same as the original video. This should be done at the start of the entire procedure, or, at the very least, before solving the scene. We can now manually add some markers. Finally, we will track them in the same manner as before. If some markers fail to track, you can delete them or manually adjust their position and track again. By pressing the Solving Camera Motion button, we can finally begin solving the scene. We get a solve error value at the end of the process. If this value is less than 1, the solving computation is fine. Now we can define some scene parameters, such as the scene's origin, scale, and orientation. Finally, press the Setup Tracking Scene button to have Blender create a basic 3D scene with some basic objects and a 3D camera. When we switch to the camera view, by pressing 0 on the numeric keypad, the original video appears in the background. And, as you can see, the 3D markers are perfectly placed in the video. Finally, we can rotate the camera and the associated markers to align them with the world's 3D axis. This is helpful because it ensures that when we add a new object, it is already aligned with the scene. In the meantime, I used photogrammetry to create a 3D model of the ruin. Now I'm going to open Blender and import the model. Then we have to align the 3D model with the markers so that it perfectly matches its position in the real video. It can be challenging, however. Once completed, you will have a 3D model embedded within live footage. You can also use it to add any visual effects you want, such as a monster that destroys it.